Well, we're back again. It's about 10 o'clock. Unfortunately, I can't be here all day today, as I've got an appointment this afternoon, which I've got to keep with the doctor. He rang me up this morning, asked me to come in for a blood test. I said, it's a bit short notice, isn't it? He said, well, can you come in this evening? I went, yeah. So, but that's okay, because, you know, I just basically here today, obviously I want to catch fish, but I just want to keep the bait going, and so I thought to myself, well, you know, so I've got to chip off at lunchtime to get this appointment. I think there's one lad over there fishing. I don't know if there's anybody else on. My mate who did the night down there, he's gone. Very few people fishing it midweek at the moment, which is good. Means I can get this swim as much as possible, keep the bait going in. Hopefully next week it'll all start to come good. I haven't put any bait in this morning because last night I put out that other half kilo, so there's plenty of bait out there. I don't need to put out any bait. And I topped up the right hand rod as well with a couple of good handfuls, so yeah, just keep the bait going in for a couple of days. I'll come down at the weekend if there's no one fishing there around here. I'll put some bait in. If there is, I won't bother. But I've got about 3.5 keys with me. Yeah, 3-4 keys with me. A couple of keys of 15mm dumbbells, and a couple of kilos of 18mm. That'll all go in before I go. Right, time to put kettle on. So my blood appointment's been cancelled. They sent me a text message this morning. I got one yesterday as well for an appointment. I think they're just cocking up. I made the appointment yesterday for blood test in 2 weeks' time. And then they get in touch with me again, so I'm not quite sure what's going on. I don't think they do either. So it looks like I might be able to stay the rest of the day until the evening, which is good news, isn't it? It's going to get noisy here today. It's Friday. There's going to be boaters, kids coming out, getting caught on the wind and getting blown straight onto me all over my swims. There's going to be swimmers going up and down all evening. But you know, there you go, there's a fish top just over there. I'll see fish topping against that margin, and that one there, and that one there. That's because you can't cast them, because the swims are set back. They're very snaggy as well, because years ago we had a right arsehole of a bailiff here, and he topped all the trees and let them dump them in the water so we couldn't fish, basically. He did that on the lake over there, only he dumped them all around the swims so nobody could fish. Just got my waders on and waded around it. Nasty man, not here anymore. Everybody breathed a sigh of relief when he went, I tell you. So, seeing a few fish topping here and there, nothing really in my area, but when I put the deeper out over there yesterday, three or four good times, there was blips coming back for fish, so there's fish around. Well, it's 2 o'clock. Look at that traffic. Southwesterly still blowing, veering round to the west-southwest, which is that way, from that way. It's pretty much going to remain that all week, although it is going to veer to the northwest a little bit and then back to the west-southwest. Weather next week, pretty much the same as what it is today and what it was yesterday. A lot warmer today, a little bit more kit on. Plus I've got my trousers on. And they keep me nice and warm. I tell you, standing there in this wind for 5 or 10 minutes out of any sunshine, and you soon get cold. So all's quiet at the moment as far as the lake's concerned. But, you know, think it will get easier to a certain degree over the next few weeks. I think you just got to keep that bait going in, try and get those spots cleared. And you know, for the right hand rod, I could actually weed rake it. It's just a single spot, and I can do that with my little weed rake. I could even bring my big one down if I wanted to. I think the little one will do. So I might just do that before I start next session. I'll just give that little bit of a weed rake. I might even try and do that spot out there and just tidy it up a little bit. But we'll put a load of bait in tonight before we go, and that will help clear that spot. I must admit, there's very few coots on here again this year, and that's the effect of the weed cutting. There's still plenty of weed down there, but the coots, once that weed cutters come in, they just seem to disappear for months on end and not come back. Probably all on the other lake. Well, I've had a kip, nice kip for I must have had a good 3/4 of an hour or more. I've been scoffing my way through nice tasty hot flatbreads. Got loads of food with me, plenty of hot drink, soup to come later, and I'll cook dinner when I get home. It's less than 10 minutes from my house by car. Well, that wind's still blowing nicely. There's still plenty of cloud cover. Not too cold a wind. It does tend to get colder during the day. So I've just recast the left and the middle rod. It took me 5 casts to get both rods in place. I'm using solid bags with lead in the bag and a 7-inch rig just tagged to the bottom of the bag. First cast went wrong for the middle rod. Next cast went perfect, and then 2 duff casts for the left hand rod before I got it exactly where I wanted it. So, but you need a solid bag really, because you've got to get it all down in one place, you know, through that weed. Any straggling bits or whatever, you know. And of course it marks the spot nicely, doesn't it? You know, dozen boilies, another dozen all crumbed up, chopped up and chunks and stuff. That bag bursts, beautiful. Right on the hook bait as well. I've just basically been hunkering down a lot of the time, watching the rods, listening for fish, but it's difficult with all the noise of course, so a lot of standing here. Yeah, well, the wind's dropped. Now we can see the weed beds all scattered everywhere. A lot of weed out there. That right hand rod is nice and clean though, I must admit. I'm surprised I haven't had anything off of it, I really am. In fact, I'm surprised I haven't had a fish by now. But this place can be tough, you know. It's got quite a lot of carp in it, but they're all spread out. There's loads of weed they sit in. A lot of food in here. I've seen it all. All the fish in here are over 40 years old now, so, you know. They're all stocked in the 70s. That's the old stock, of course. The newer fish stocked around the 90s, something like that. Maybe the 2000, I don't know, I can't remember. But they should all be a good size now as well, actually, to be honest. Although commons are notoriously slow growers in some waters. It took them years in this water to get the doubles. I remember the first double I had from there. Oh, there weren't many people catching doubles out of there. Well, we'll keep at it. I'll definitely be staying until after dark tonight, because I want to get some bait sneaked out. There you go. Hooked in the bottom bloody lip. Look at that. Hold on. There you go. Not much bigger than my hand. Used to catch loads of those from here back in the day. Rudd. Oh. Off it goes. Got the swimmers out, as you can see. Crazy. What on earth did they get out of it? Well, it looks like the swimmers have gone. They were out there for an hour. Started at 5, it's now 6 o'clock. So, a couple of hours, sort of peace and quiet. Before it gets dark. And then what I'll do when it gets dark is I'll spawn all that bait out. Bait up the margin heavily. Sneak off. Come back Monday. Black calm again. That wind has been dropping today and picking up and dropping. Little activity from the carp though. I've been standing out there a lot watching the water, but I've only seen a few, which, you know, is a bit disconcerting, but well, I plan on doing a few weeks down here. It's going to be tough to start with, but I'm hoping that I can establish a couple of areas and catch a few fish. I'm not thinking of going anywhere else anyway. And I can just about put up with all the noise and the people. It's been fairly quiet over here because this is the path for the anglers mostly. Most of the public go around the other path, so it's not as busy as what it is over there. You've got people coming behind you and talking and standing there watching you and talking and oh yeah, drives you mad. You have to really get your head around it. You have to get your attitude right. You have to accept it, be pragmatic. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. It's out of your control. So you really shouldn't worry too much about it. Just concentrate on the fishing as much as you can. And if the boats or the swimmers are out, I don't know, have a kip or something. So we caught a fish anyway off them bags. So I think that might be the way to go. A bite is a bite, and it shows that it's working, so yeah. Well, it's 7:30. It's starting to get a little bit dark now. So I'll be here for about another hour or two. And then when I leave, like I say, I'll bait up. I think this place is all about presentation, to be honest with you. Making sure that you use bags, shorter rigs, getting it down, you know. Someone just walked behind me there. Making sure it's in, you know, on the deck, getting the area clean, getting the bait in regularly, and just keep on plugging away. Hopefully, we'll get a result. Only time will tell. Keep reminding ourselves why we're coming. There's some really nice fish to be caught out of there. But we're going to have to get it right. Okay, so the spot was next to that weed. Just out there. And I can see bubbles coming up now. And there is definitely carp in the swim. Morning. Been working with this for the last hour. So I was here last Friday and Thursday, blanking, putting in bait, working away. So this morning I raked that swim there and the one at the right, and last Friday I put some bait in, plenty of bait in both swims, and they've been cleared because when I put this rake out it was coming back fairly clean. So I tidied up the area, put a couple more handfuls in each spot, and I'm literally just about to cast out. But there's already carp over the spot, that's for sure. So I'm hoping I'll get fish today. Right, let's get the rod out, get settled in, get a kettle on, definitely. Well, that wind's picked up nicely. Oh, we've had some rain. Wasn't even on the forecast. You always tend to put the umbrella up here because it gives you a bit of privacy from all the people. Oh, been alright 2 and 8 this morning, honestly. I really have. You know how sometimes you just walk into a swim and you're just in the groove and everything is going sweet as. Well, everything has this morning, but I've just not been organised, you know. I wasn't sure where to sit or what, you know. I was looking at the weather forecast thinking, well, it's a southwesterly, so I really should be up there a bit out of the wind. And I was thinking, now I've got my waterproofs, and I was just like, ugh, one of those mornings where my brain's a bit fast. Raking went sweet as. The area was quite clear. Not surprising. You know, I fished it Thursday, Friday, put in plenty of bait over that period of time, probably somewhere in the region of 4 or 5 kilos, split between the two areas, so plenty of bait. Right hand rod, bit more silkweed coming back than out there, but it was clean enough, and there was a weed bed just there. That's gone. So, yeah. As I was setting up, I was basically watching the spot, big trail of bubbles. And these carp in here, they've got this habit of, when they get in the weed, they disturb the weed and they give off a lot of bubbles. Now, I've never been able to distinguish whether that's coming out of the weed, part of the weed, and fish or weed, but it's a strange sort of phenomenon that you see here. It's just this massive amount of bubbles you see. And it was right on the spot, right on top of it. So as you can see, I'm down to 2 rods, 1 rod out there, 1 rod to the right. That's all I need. 3 rods. It's not a very big swim. I think we're all 2 rods here anyway, from what I recall. So, and I'm happy with 2 rods. Less weight to carry, less hassle, less messing around, less problems. And 1 rod in a swim on the spot. That's all you need. And it's better, you know. They might not see your 1 line, but they damn sure might see 2. So yeah. Right, I've got to get that kettle on. Kettle's on. About time too. So I'm happy with the work that I've done so far on this swim, and I'm pleased that I'm able to get back into it as well, of course. But both spots are getting nice and clean now. It's quite obvious the fish have been on the bait. If they haven't, I'm not going to catch anything, so. But they will have been. There's no doubt in my mind about that. There's enough carp in here. So, yeah. So 3 days basically, and over the weekend, any of that bait that lasted over the weekend. So I should think them spots are clean by now. The bait would have definitely broken down. Small fish would have picked it off. There's a multitude of rudd and roach in here. So, yeah. Uneaten bait doesn't lie around for very long. So I put out about 3 really good handfuls, possibly 4 on the left hand rod, and a couple of really good handfuls on the right hand rod. The left hand rod out there is a little bit more spread with the spawn, but pretty much all of it went right on the spot, so happy. Much more happier today than I have been the last couple of sessions. That's just simply because I knew for a fact that I was going to have to work hard to find any spots that are clear, and you know, that I knew that I was going to have to put in the bait, probably suffer a few blanks, just keep putting the bait in. Having the weekend come up for me and putting in all that bait on Friday probably helped quite a bit for me. So yeah, and that was definitely a carp over the left hand rod. But I hadn't even cast out. Kept spoiling it. I'll get back to you. Tea's a bit hot at the moment. Ooh, steam the glasses up. Oh. I think the weather's better today anyway. It's a bit warmer. Not so well, it is overcast, but I think there is a bit of blue sky there, a bit of thinness to it, a little bit of sunshine, so a little bit warmer. The wind isn't pushing as hard. It really was bouncing down here last week. I'm quite happy with the conditions. Nice and settled, warm. Water temperatures obviously now falling steadily, a degree or so every few days or a week, you know. 64 a week or so ago. I just think it's getting a little bit lower than that. It depends, you know. This is water surface temperature, so there is a difference. But we haven't had too much cold rain, which is a good thing, because that's the thing, it's the cold rain that you get that can really put the blockers on fishing. While it's like this, warm, overcast, pucker. Not the smoothest cameraman in the world, am I? There you go. Oh. You know, it's a funny place this, because I've got so many memories of being here over the last 40 years. Unbelievable, 40 years. It's good to be able to reach it, I guess. But this place has always filled me with joy in the fishing wise, you know. Obviously the first 10 years I here was bliss, because it was a club water, it was gated, locked, we had our own car park, no dog walkers, no swimmers, no boats. The university used it a little in 80, 81, after 82 they never came back. They stopped using it. I think that's one of the reasons why they let it go. And South Cambs District Council, I think it was South Cambs Council, took it over, turned it into a country park. And then some years ago, a private company took it over. I don't think they own it, I think they lease it for various water sports. So yeah, but the fishing's always been good, you know. This is where I learnt to carp fish, literally. Learnt how to find the fish and catch them. I did well sometimes. Caught a lot of fish from here, probably caught most of them at one time or another. But they fight with such ferocity, these carp in here. They really go, and it's a weedy water, and your heart is always in your mouth, especially when you get one on. But just sitting here now, because I know that if one picks up the bait, it is really going to roar off. You know? And these are new reels. They're not bait runners. They're front drag, aren't they? So I've got to remember to not pick up the rod and wind the reel handle, but to put my hand at the front. So that's why I've got my reels the way I have, so that it's easy to reach to the front, the bail arm's well out of the way, and the handle. 10 years of using bait runners. It's not easy to change. Just had a kingfisher land on the right hand rod, and then down it went, got a fish, come back up, and sat there, scoffed it, flew off. I knew damn well if I tried to switch the camera on it wouldn't have done it, so didn't catch that one. It's always a good sign of luck, if anything else, if there is such a thing. So that is how I started out fishing, probably at about that age with my mum, doing exactly that, trying to catch the little minnows in the edge. Mum showing me how to do it. I think I was probably about 5 or 6. Might even been as young as that one there, I don't know. Well, that's how I started out fishing.